you doing?
Good morning.
Yes, make sure I tell them folks morning. They gotta know she run the show now.
All right.
I'm just helping her out, you know. I'm just helping her out. So, um, we're gonna get straight into what's happening because I know we don't have much time. Again, good morning. I wanna start off with because we can dive into so many stuff.
Okay.
But a lot of folks see this, and this has been something that we're not particularly used to, but you've done it, and so I always wanted to know what inspired you to kind of start practicing martial arts.
Wow. Well, I started 10 when I was about 10 years old. I loved it.
Yeah.
I came up in the 70s. So back then, that was all the kung fu movies were out. We had the drive-in theater here in Freeport where Solomon's is on Queens Highway.
Wow.
So my dad would take my brother and I to the drive-in theater.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had an affinity for that. And I think it came from my parents watching wrestling in Nassau while my mother was pregnant with me. He said when I was in the crib, I should be doing my hands and feel like I want to fight. So
right.
it's just something I've always loved.
Wow. So I mean, do you believe? Can you tell us like how it has shaped your life?
Well, I started, just doing stuff at home. And when I was about 10, my father took me to the Princess, Bai Song Kung Fu School.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sifu Kenneth Lewis was a grandmaster and the founder of the first Bahamian Kung Fu system.
Right.
And I started training with him, and I still train with him, actually. He has a black belt class. And he really introduced me and the instructors there to the formalization of structure and discipline and stances and blocks. And I just continued. I never stopped.
Wow.
Even in school, and I studied and I trained in Muay Thai for a year. I boxed for 3 years. I have a good friend to this day. We met in 1986. He was outside the dorm hitting a tree. Everybody thought he was crazy. I said, I want to meet him, Mike Fleshett. And he trained in Kempo.
Yeah.
So we trained together for many, many years. He was a secondary black belt in Kempo. And it just grew on me. I just kept doing it. I never stopped. I'm 57 years old. And I worked in the criminal justice field in school. I did security.
Mm-hmm.
I was studying criminal justice. I can tell you, I had incidents where knives were pulled on me, incidents where, people much bigger than me. A lot of people bigger than me.
Yeah.
I'm talking like 6'3" though, 6'3" and 240, 260.
Right.
And I saw the practical applications of, dealing with those situations effectively and quickly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So how do you believe, for anyone that's listening, how do you believe that martial arts can positively impact individuals?
We have great martial artists in the Bahamas, great martial arts schools. Sensei Ford is, they call the founder of karate in the Bahamas, and they're, Frankie Adley and so many great instructors. And I can attest, and I'm in a black belt group, there's quite a bit of us.
Yeah.
We keep a lot of kids off the street.
Wow.
We show them that, hey, somebody calls you a name, you don't need to respond verbally or physically.
Right.
When everyone else in the classroom is misbehaving, you should be the one who's sitting when the teacher leaves to go to the office. You should be that student that sits there, puts his heads in the book, and stays focused.
Yeah.
Not to be dissuaded and pulled into a gang because you feel intimidated, or you could learn how to stand your ground.
Yeah.
And all martial arts schools teach moral and ethical principles,
Right.
Loyalty, honor, respect, self-discipline. And my school is a Christian-based school, and I base my principles on the foundation of God's word through Christ Jesus.
Wow.
And it's important because the battlefield of life may not be physical, but I guarantee you there's a lot of emotional battlefields. And I would deal a lot of kids, young people with suicide, want to jump off the bridge and so forth. So I deal with all that in my classroom setting.
Right.
Because I tell my students, listen, I'm not here to teach you how to punch and kick.
Right.
I'm here to teach you how to deal with the strikes of life.
Right.
The bully in the classroom, the bully at home,
Right.
the abusive parent.
Wow.
The teacher who's a bully and wants to berate and demean you in class, how not to let that infiltrate your spirit and your soul,
Right.
I'm happy and I'm actually privileged and honored to be able to use this means of mental defense, physical defense, and spiritual defense to be able to help a person to be the best that they could be.
Yeah. I love that. I wanna dive into that a little bit too, because that is something I believe that we need to understand about what you do, because I don't want like persons to think that, like you say, this is about persons to punch, teaching them to punch, kick, be violent. I'm sure that you probably had folks, kids that came in that may have been troubled.
Yeah.
Can you like share an experience where you saw how martial arts kind of helped somebody, made a significant difference in someone's life?
Well, my most recent sensei, who I also trained with, Professor Ivan Moss of
Mm-hmm.
VSK Jaguar Jiu Jitsu. Um, I had a promotion of over 26 students, and he came in and he promoted me to third degree. But one of my students, who's now in the police academy right here, ran in a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
he gave a testimony. He said prior to coming and training with me 5 years ago, he always got into fights.
Wow.
He was always angry. He was always, I mean, you would say anything, it would just take him off.
Just snap.
And he said, since he's come into my tutelage, me training him, and mentorship and the school, he doesn't see the need. I mean, his whole attitude has shifted. He is so humble and so meek. He's a powerful warrior,
Yeah.
but he no longer sees the need to respond in violence or respond to everything that comes his way.
Wow. Wow. I love the fact that this helps so many people to, in terms of discipline and respect. You come in with a certain way, and and some folks, I'm sure they may believe they go in and they're just a little out of defend, you know what I mean? But you end up leaving with a whole different mentality, and I think that's important to point out.
Vital.
It helps you mentally, and that's a plus that I think we need, especially as men. We really don't know how to always respond when you get approached by someone. You know what I mean?
I have students come in, even when I was teaching under Jaguar Jiu Jitsu and now my own school, King's Martial Arts Academy, and they couldn't look in the eye. They were looking at the ground.
Wow.
No self-esteem. And I've had kids come in very aggressive. And in the same classroom setting, no individual classroom setting,
Mm-hmm.
there's an equilibrium that takes place.
Right.
The student who had the head down and shy can look at you in the eye, and the student who is aggressive
Mm-hmm.
is toned down and can look at you in the eye assertively, not aggressively.
Right.
And I just thank God for giving me the gift to be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's a gift.
Yes.
Because, to be able to captivate a kid, and then today, kids are dealing their attitude and their energy pattern is different. I think the food, attention deficit disorder and all that. I don't play that. When I say yeah, mate, I mean stop in Japanese, right? Discipline is the order of the day. I
Right.
always tell them, I say Jesus had a lot of followers, and they weren't there when he's walking at the cross, right?
No.
I mean, he had men of discipline, disciples. They kind of weighed there too when they saw that cross, but he called men of discipline.
Right.
And if you don't have self-discipline, you just rogue. You're not and I see it in our society. We're celebrating our 51st year of independence.
Right.
And are we grooming the next generation to carry the weight? And it's so sad that I don't feel as if we have the caliber of leaders today.
Yeah.
And this is in all facets, from our political leaders, our national leaders, our business leaders, our scholastic and even religious and spiritual leaders.
Mm-hmm.
The caliber of real men and women who are resolute in being righteous and doing what is right and morally and ethically against all odds is so far and few.
Right.
And we're in trouble, but God is able,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes persons like yourself, daily, or weekly, just making small contributions in hopes that, I can impact one person, and this person impacts the next one. And so I'm always so honored to speak with men like yourself that takes it. You can tell that you are serious about trying to change what we see as a normal thing. You know what I mean? Like young men, kids, we are losing that discipline and respect and values. And so I can only hope and pray every time, that I see persons like yourself, that one person or that one young man that comes to, to see you, changes, and he changes his peers. And so we can only take it one day at a time, trying to make sure that we change the culture, because we do need to continue working every single day.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it, it's sometimes like, man, it's tough. But, I'm proud to sit in this seat and know that the work is being done, and someone like you ain't folding. Because a lot of times you have persons that they see it and they're like, ain't nothing we could do. And so, just talking about that, how do you feel, that, what do you say to persons that kind of give up hope? Because you've been dealing with this for a long time, and I'm sure you had persons or maybe parents that say, you know what, ain't nothing else I can do? And,
I never believe in giving up.
yeah,
No retreat, no surrender. That's my motto.
yeah,
When I was actually prior to me doing martial arts and being filled with the Holy Spirit at the age of 10, going on 11, I couldn't speak. Like right now, I couldn't call my name. I stammered and stuttered so horribly.
wow,
I was afraid and intimidated of people. And I have great parents, and I thank God. My parents are the best.
yeah,
But I had other people who poured into my life too. Sifu Kenneth Lewis. I had Pastor Percy Kemp, Clayton Curtis, and Boy Scouts. So it does really take a village. You see what I mean? And these are men that I will never forget. Sister Marquis Kemp, my youth choir director. She's gone on to be the Lord. But people who poured into you, you don't forget. And it's so important that we never give up.
right,
Never lose hope. God said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Lo, I am with you even unto the end of the earth. And these are scriptures I quote in my classes.
wow,
So, you may go off to school, and I tell them, hey, you're going to be up to school, and you're going to feel that you're alone.
yeah,
But the Lord said, I will never leave you nor forsake you.
wow,
You know what I mean? Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil.
yeah,
But thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. And it's real stuff. 17, I was in Kearney, Nebraska. Me and my brother, I didn't know anybody. School population, 10, 12,000 students, 99% white,
jeez,
right? And I made friends, and I functioned and flow.
wow,
And martial arts, running martial arts really imparts the discipline, yes, but the confidence.
yeah,
And also in the Bible, be of good courage, which means of confidence.
right,
But today, our young people, they go from low self-esteem to rage because that middle ground isn't there of, hey, this is who I am. These are my strengths. Yes, I have some weaknesses, but I'm valued.
right,
And I tell my students, I said, God said, before I formed the earth, and I said, earth is billions of years old, I called you, I predestined you.
yeah,
And when you get the cognition of that in your mindset, it doesn't matter if mommy or daddy call you a bad name or you don't know who your daddy is, or it doesn't matter what political government. I tell people, listen, I'm bigger than the government.
yeah,
They say, how you can say that? I say, I represent the kingdom of God, which will never fail.
yeah,
I said, the prime minister has police and the Secret Service follow the president. I got angels who walk with me. Plus,
right.
I can handle myself,
If need be, you got your own too, you know what I mean? I love that, I love that. So if you're just tuning in, man, you're tuning in to Power 104.5 FM. I got an amazing man sitting across from me, and as you can hear, there's so many things, and we got so much more to dive into, because martial arts is just one thing that that you do, and the way that you've impacted. So we're gonna take this quick break, pay these bills, because I always want to hear just of how to become the man that you are today. You have to cross some roads, gone to some places, met some people, you know what I mean? Even the way you were brought up, and so we're going to get a little bit more into that. So I want y'all to keep your dials locked. Don't go nowhere, because we got so much more to talk about in such little time. Keep it locked. It's Power 104.5 FM.
What were your questions? I waiting on you. Huh?
No questions.
You ain't got none? I come to Julie right now. Come on.
How old are you?
I'm 17.
17. I graduated in 1984 from Freeport High School.
I graduated from BMES last year.
Yeah? I'm a warrior for life, girl. Hey.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Freeport High, boy. My son just graduated 2020 at Dante King.
I remember that.
Yeah, and then Asia of 2018. And one thing but BMES, they can give you work.
Yeah.
So going off to school that first year wasn't overwhelming,
Mm-hmm.
So come. I need you to put in these commercials right here. I am sliding one there, and you do the rest. Alright. Because we on a thing, I might normally try to slip in all during the break, right?
Uh-huh.
So put in 7. Back on now. Okay, we are back. We are back. We had to pay those bills quick. You know we gotta pay them commercials here from those sponsors. I don't want y'all to forget though. You gotta always get those things and to check out those places. But before I go any further, gotta remind y'all that this is a very special show, as you can hear. And I got amazing person in here, and we're just sucking up all of this great information. You know, I like moments. I don't like to let no moment pass. I big on that because you never know what you can learn. You never know what you can, you know, how you can be inspired. And so Sensei Dwayne King from King's Martial Arts is in here, and as I told you, man, I've seen him. I've had many conversations. You know, I've had many moments where, you know, you just decided, like, I love the fact that no matter where I've seen you, if you're gonna slip out something, it'll always be something to inspire.
Amen.
Even before we had an official conversation, you would see me with my kids, and you'd say, "Hey, you know that," and I always like things like that.
You and the wife having dinner.
Right? You know what I mean? And you always slipping out something, and I appreciate that because persons can mind their business.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I say. Like we live in a world where somebody could see you, and they could. I'm gonna just mind my business. Instead of you see a person, a young man with his wife, and you say, "Hey, keep that up." Or you see me with my son or my daughter and you say, listen, continue to do that. And those are ways that if you're doing that to me from a distance, I can only imagine the people that you get a chance to do that with every single day. And so, as I told the listeners, man, on this half of the show, I wanted to kind of get into, you know, I know you have so many stories that you can tell. You started to tell me so many things off the air. I was like, yeah, this is what I need us to talk about. Because I need people to understand that you have done, you know, a lot of things. And so, you know, for some folks that don't really know, can you tell us, you know, some give us some history of you know the things that you had to pass through, the different what I'm trying to say is the different organizations that you may have been a part of that you contributed to that, you know, the listeners may not know.
Well, I'm gonna start. I give all glory to God. Yeah. Happy Independence Day, Bahamas.
Yeah.
Happy Independence Day, America, yesterday. But I'm going to start. It really started with my father and my mother. My father, Hansel King.
Yeah.
We came in '71. He started a meeting department, and he had a prime example for his mother, Maud Humes King. They call her the mayor of Adelaide, and she took care of all the kids in the neighborhood and make sure they had, you know, lunch money. And she was the mayor. Nothing happened in Adelaide Village without Miss King, right?
Wow.
And you know, and coming from people like that, my father started the Red Cross. So I grew up as a kid with the Red Cross started. He taught the ambulance drivers. They didn't even know CPR.
Wow.
This is way back in the 70s.
Yeah,
they used to pick you up, throw you in a station wagon ambulance, and just ride you, to the RAN.
Wow.
But he also started the first union on the island. This is when Wallace Groves and the old port, and that was Bahamas Electrical Engineering and Fuel Workers Union in 1971.
Wow.
And he got the first industrial agreement signed with Focal employees in 1972. So when you look at that, I had that example of being involved in the community, not just going to work, going home. My father sacrificed many hours to the Red Cross. Hurricane David, 1979. My dad was out of the shelters.
Wow.
Right. My late cousin Alan King, a Jaeger funeral home, passed by. He saw the house wasn't boarded up. There's a funny story. I got to tell you this. So he went. He said, and he came back with the hearse, with a pine box, because the coffins came in these pine cedar boxes.
Yeah.
And everybody thought somebody had died because they didn't see Daddy all day, right? And all the neighbors were boarding up, and everybody stopped and looked. And he bought it house. But my father was always involved in the community. My mother just retired from BTVI. At age almost 80, and she's contributed to the lives of many people. So it's in me.
Yeah.
And we cannot be selfish. God did not put us here for ourselves.
Right.
Your talents, abilities, your gifts, your experiences, your trials and tribulations are to empower and help other people to go through theirs.
Yeah.
The whole Bible is called a New and Old what? Testament.
Right.
It's a testimony of somebody's story. So you have a story. It doesn't matter if you live in Garden Villas or if you live in Princess Isle.
Yeah.
You have a story. And I believe it's important that we give to our nation, that we give to our community, that we give to Freeport, to Grand Bahama, to Maida Town, to 8 Mile Rock, to Martin Town. Don't just rely, it's not about the government or the ports, you know.
Right.
It's not about them. In fact, sometimes they get in the way. Do your part in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
If the government didn't fix your road or the port didn't fix the pothole, have a block party, man. put some money together, buy some concrete, and fix your own road.
Right.
See what I mean?
Right. Right.
Fix your own road.
Yeah.
You know, and we have certain communities in this country. You know, in Abaco, they did their own fire department. They didn't wait on the government.
Wow.
Marsh Harbor and Treasure Key, and they still have their own volunteer fire department. And it's important that we take ownership
Yeah.
of our neighborhood, of our street,
Yeah.
of our corner. And that's why the gangs rule.
Yeah.
Because we go inside, it's not my business, it's the police business, it's a government job. No.
Yeah.
That's your neighbor, man.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I don't care. I love my country. And I love the Bahamas. I've traveled to other countries, and I appreciate and value what we have. Give, contribute. Yeah, everybody's going to be out at Independence Day celebration, watch the police and motorcycles, hoorah. But what are you giving to?
Yeah.
Outside of your job, what are you volunteering your time for?
That's true.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I was in the Rotary from 2002 to 2016. Prior to that, actually, the first JA, Junior Achievement Company, started in 1983 on the island. And I was one of the first the first JA president in one of the five clubs. Cindy Cabral was one, Chivago Lang was one, I was one, I can't remember who all was others. And my company's named Prestigious Producers, right? And later on in life, when I came out from school, I ended up working on the board of directors for the Junior Achievement for Grand Bahama for 2 years.
Wow.
To help to facilitate that. In 1995, I was one of the youngest members of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce, and I started something called the Youth Development Committee.
Mm-hmm.
They never had that. I don't think they still have it. To use the chamber to reach the youth, to get them involved in the community. It's all about us. It's not about you and me. It's we.
Right.
And until we get that mindset, we will never culminate and grow and be who we are as a nation.
Yeah.
And I'm saddened in some ways, because when I look at countries like Singapore and Qatar and the Bahamas, they were all in a very bad state between 1967 and 1973. But when you look at Singapore, because of their leadership, and Qatar, and we can make excuses, oh, they have oil, no, it's about leadership.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you look at a championship NBA team, look at the coach.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
When you look at anything, look at the leadership. When you look at our family functions, look at the leadership.
Yeah.
So everything rises and falls on leadership. And when you're a leader, you're not the boss. You're the biggest servant.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
so even
tough.
in my school, I serve, man. I tell them, listen, you're your parents' children, y'all are my kids. And I have the older ones. I said, y'all look around. This is your brother and sister. You see them anywhere and they're in trouble, you help them.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And that's the mindset we have to have.
Yeah.
I don't do let out my car, man. I don't do that. Or to give the garbage man a job. Give him a job. Why should he? Why need to? I'm not a nasty person.
Right.
I keep
It should
I
be
keep
more
my
about
can
you
in my
than
car. When I get home, I clean up my car, I throw it in the garbage. You see what I mean? So we talk about independence. Independence is when it's true. We can't feed ourselves. We're not independent. We can't feed. If America say, Bahamas, they tired of you all tomorrow, we're not exporting no food to you.
Yeah.
We'll last
You're in a
8
tough
days.
position.
You
Yeah.
understand me? You see, when a child is independent, when they could sit there in that high chair and feed themselves,
Right.
and all the food ain't dropping in the bib.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they need no pampers, and they could go. That's you say you're independent. When they could open the door, you raise your child to be independent, meaning
Right.
they don't need you, right?
Right.
Our national leaders not raising us so they don't need us. I know this is a different side topic, but this is independence.
Yeah, man. Give it
And this
time.
is what I talk about. This is what I teach. I talk about this stuff in my class because I want my students to understand. I have students from over 60. Okay,
Yeah.
I have a retiree. I think my martial arts. You don't need to be. You can come in you can come in a wheelchair.
Wow.
Right. And it's not like football or other sports, man.
Right.
If you're not at that optimal physical level of being an athlete,
Yeah.
martial arts,
Any age,
training
just
everybody.
come.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about it, you know what
Yeah,
to do.
come KMA, man. I
Yeah.
got you. You know what I mean? And two other schools I can recommend. But it's important that we understand what is our national identity.
Mhm.
Who do we want to be? Who are we? We don't even tap into the resources of our young people who are off in other countries. You see what I mean?
Right.
When Israel became a nation, they reached out to every Jew everywhere in the world to bring their skill set to help them. The first thing they had to do was turn that desert in the food, they know that anybody was trading with them.
Mm-hmm.
We have learned some things as a nation. And so I teach my students to be self-sufficient. I tell my boys, if you can't cook or clean, you don't mind.
Yeah. Tell them.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I tell my daughters, you gotta, they my daughters, you gotta learn how to change the tire.
Yeah.
You should know how to put oil in the car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Learn how to be independent.
Yeah, be independent. So you're self-reliant. Although we depend upon each other, you don't have to for every little thing.
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
So, mine's job is not, I bring home the food, I bring home the money, and and you gotta cook food.
Yeah.
I was mopping and cleaning before I came here.
Yeah.
Right?
Anything that you bring to my life should be a plus.
Yeah.
Not that I need or I depend
Yes.
on this thing. Yeah, I got you.
So it's all about mindset. The Bible says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. What is our mindset as a people, as a nation? And what I teach in my school is this, in your school, the Bible is, my scripture, my motto in my school, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Not some things. I
Right.
can do all things. All.
Yeah.
That's a complete statement, but you have to really let that reverberate in your spirit and in your mind.
Yeah.
And you have to encapsulate what the Lord is really saying. That first and foremost, you have to know who you are, even before you come to Him.
Mm-hmm.
See what I mean? Even sometimes we rely on the Lord too much.
Mm-hmm.
I give an example. Moses at the Red Sea, right? Man, and them the Egyptians was coming, boy. The ground is rocking.
Mm-hmm.
And the Jews said, man, why did we even come? Why did they started blaming Moses?
Right.
And Moses said, Lord, what should I do? I look at him and say, hey, buddy. Let me speak for him in terms now. Hey,
Yeah.
buddy, hold up your rod, man.
Yeah, I give it this thing.
I give it to you. If Moses did not do an act, God couldn't move. We got to act first.
Right.
We want the government, we want mommy, we want husband, hey, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Are you
Yeah.
educating yourself? Go online. I can't afford to call it. Just courses online.
Yeah.
$16.99 Udemy.
Wow.
Make a way. And kids today, they have access to knowledge, not video games. That's what they want to do. Access to knowledge I didn't have in the 80s.
Yeah.
When I went to college, I had to go to the library, journals, periodicals, and research papers, and all that. All you had to do was click.
Yeah. Get everything that you've been digging for.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
In minutes.
Seconds.
More than you need, right? And so we have access to good information. We have access to positive. I impart on my students, I say, listen, use your phones. That's okay to play video games. The Bible says time and place for everything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Be disciplined. I even told them this summer, learn something new. Don't just watch TV and play. I mean, they don't play outside anymore, but learn something new
Yeah.
every day. But we want to sit with our status quo and, everything good. And no, you should never be comfortable. If you could do 20 push-ups on Monday, on Friday, you should be doing 25.
Yeah.
And as a nation, be comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm not satisfied where we are.
Wow.
A lot of things government's trying to do now, they should have done back in 1979, 1980. We started off well. National Insurance, College of the Bahamas, Defense Force, blah, 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 blah. But that's the status quo. How many Bahamians are empowered financially?
Yeah.
Do we have access to really primary health care? The Rand family gave us a hospital, and we don't have a hospital yet, a real hospital. They've been talking with building, and now they putting some little concrete in the ground, and they, like, you doing me a favor. Listen, let me tell you something. Me as a father and as a husband, right, and you as a parent, when you provide food and shelter and clothing and love for your, should I put you in the news for that? Should I have a press conference? Could you bring grocery home?
No.
Should I have a press conference? Could you pay the power bill?
No.
Well, why would you have a press conference when you're building the school? That's what you're supposed to do as a government, buddy. You're supposed to fix the road. Those are things that are standard that a government is supposed to do, okay? Improve infrastructure, provide a comparable judicial system. You're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Do something innovative for me. Transform our prison system. That we don't have a prison system. That we have a maximum. That instead of the guys leaving from under the tree, smoking and drinking, and they doing the same thing in the cell, 5 of them in the cell. Let them put them in a structured environment where 5 o'clock in the morning they got to be up. They got to make that. Put in a military environment.
Yeah.
That they got to do physical, PT and stuff. They got to eat just like the Marines in 20 minutes. And then they got to be in school from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. You understand?
Right.
Show me something innovative that you're transforming lives.
Yeah.
Do a feasibility study how many civil engineers we need in the next 20 years, prenatal nurses we need, So I have a student right now. He's graduating today from the Defense Force, Rodwell Richards Jr.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And what's so funny is he had turned it down. He was in college. He was in UB, and he turned it. His dad called me. I said, Sensei King, I need you to talk to Rodwell. He turned on the police. He turned on the thing. And he was a cadet here. Could you talk to him? Because they called me. They want you to, and he had to sign by Friday. This is on Wednesdays. I called him. I said, Rodwell, blah, blah, blah. And I said, let's pray about it. We prayed on the phone. I said, Robert, you can still continue school. It's a great opportunity for you to grow and learn and to, travel and, you know what I mean?
Right.
Don't shut the opportunity. I believe in carpe diem, seize in the moment, right? Seize the day. And he went. And his mom said, "Boy, Sensei King, when you could talk to him," right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's graduating today. And I have another student in school in New York, right? And doing well. He's on a scholarship. Another one in a military high school, a Bahamian, okay? And he was promoted as a sergeant in 3 months or 6 months.
Yeah.
But he used to take a year and a half.
Wow.
And he broke the school record, school around over 100 years. And he said, Sensei King, I would hear your voice. When I'm doing this stuff and trouble comes or I would hear your voice as speaking things you say in class. They come to me and he called me. He said, thank you so much, Sensei King. His mom called and thanked me. Those are the things that encourage me to keep going.
I'm listening to you and gathering so much. And in hearing you speak, I'm thinking about the amount of students and, young men and women that you father. Clearly, because they still rely on, or they can, as you said, they're hearing your voice because you've coached and you've said positive affirmations into them. And I remember, was it last year? I was on A10 and we did a Father's Day show.
Yeah.
And I want you to talk just for a brief, just to us men, or in general, of how important that is, because you started this segment by talking about your father, which is a clear indication that you became who you are from someone that has paved the way and showed you how to be a good father, and that in turn you did it to your own and others. And sometimes as men we don't see the importance in doing that. Sometimes we think that it's just a financial thing. You want to just send the money, but we don't know how important it is to be there, speak life, to speak over your children and and many others. Or if if you don't have any kids, grab someone else and see how important it is to pour into that life. So as men we don't really value that the same anymore. So I want you to kind of speak to that, because I think we need to remember how important that is.
My father's father, Kenneth Alfred King, spoke so many things in my life. My grandfather, Elijah Holmes, from Chippewa, my mother's father, Doris Holmes, Holmes, my mother's mother, and my grandmother, Maud Humes King. And then my father, Hansel King and Darnell King. It's important. You have to be. My father was there. When he left Freeport Power at 5 o'clock, at 5:10, he home. I mean, the yard wicked. The yard is in the yard wicked. These farmers, right? We didn't always like it.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, I have calluses in my hand and I know what it is to work.
Yeah.
But many conversations took place in the back of that yard while we were planting lettuce and tomatoes and weeding and so forth.
Yeah.
Many jokes came about, and many impartations of wisdom. And waking us up in the morning and do early prayer and Bible study. Be there, man. Listen, as a man, if you don't know God, you are a shell of who you should be.
Yeah.
And I strayed away, and I can tell you, nothing in the bar. It's just a waste of time, buddy. Waste a lot of time in the bar talking about sports and politics and stuff. That's not helping to build your family. That's not even helping to build you.
Right.
We waste a lot of time as men. We like to talk. Hanging out, talking, sitting under the tree. I can be sitting playing dominoes with a bunch of fellas all day, man. Smoking. For what? What are they doing? You know what I mean? Then he's a man.
Yeah.
A man is not throwing sperm and bringing about a child. You're not a man. You're a contributor, right? But you really contribute. Be a daddy. Be there at the soccer game. Be there at the award ceremony.
At the PT.
Be there at the discipline when you got to talk and discipline.
Yeah.
Be there. Show love. Hug, man.
Yeah.
Hug your kids. I love my son. You all follow my Facebook. I love my son. I love my daughters. Everybody know that.
Yeah.
Because my parents, they show me love. I love my wife. You know what I mean? You bother with them, I can deal with you.
Yeah.
I'm their protector.
And you didn't want
You understand?
that.
No. You know, if I got to write letter, whatever it is,
Yeah.
I stand up for my own.
Yeah.
And as a martial artist, I learn to stand up for those that are weak and can't stand up for themselves. And we have to we got to beat them, man. It's okay. Yeah, we got to play dominoes and do your darts and have your fun, play your golf game and rugby. That's good, right?
But
But
at the
where the
expense of your family
kids,
and your
man.
children, yeah.
You know, send them, take your WhatsApp, man, and send them a voice note. Just say, hey, Tommy, just call and tell you I love you, sing about you, praying about you, man. You keep up the good work, love you. That's simple, you know.
Yeah.
Don't forward no. I tell people in the prayer group, don't forward nothing to me, man. Send me a voice note or send me a prayer.
Yeah.
Don't forward nothing you see.
Right.
If you want to write something, write it yourself.
Yeah.
Even if you can't spell
I
proper
got
English.
those same thoughts.
You understand?
Yeah.
Hey, forwarding it, you ain't doing nothing.
do the
It's
work.
plagiarism.
Do the work. Do the work yourself.
So just be the best mother or father that you can be. And sometimes you may feel like I don't have the money and I don't know. Listen, it ain't about the money. It's about the value of who you are at that time. You can't put a price on that time.
No.
You can't put a price on that hug, that encouraging word. You know what I mean? That correction. Where you sit, man, when I did wrong, my daddy not only beat you, know. I just sit and tell him why I did wrong and what I did. And you know the worst words I ever heard from him would kill me. I'm so disappointed you go in your room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To this day, at 57, I'm disappointed. So, you know, and you have to carry that weight too, so that hey, when Daddy voice say, when he say Dwayne and Bradley come, when he say boys come here, when he call your name, boy, I start breathing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's that fair factor of discipline that I think I bring even in my classroom, and I'm trying to teach some of my parents that your children should know when your tone changes, that hey, fire and brimstone coming if you keep this up.
Yeah.
So we have kids, they just run amok, and rowing and making noise doesn't have the same effect as learning how to say things in a certain resonance and voice and
Mhm.
a spirit that commands, hey, sit down, we get this serious, you know. And we don't have that in our nation. That's why crime, just people is doing whatever they want to do.
Yeah. Listen, if you're just tuning in, this is an independent series, and I had to kick this off with the man himself, Sensei Dwayne King from King's Martial Arts, and you can hear, man, this guy's impacted in so many different people in so many different ways, young, old, and this is what this is about for me, just highlighting persons like him, and so that we can understand that we have so many amazing individuals right here in our country that we don't get to see, and so we got to pull them out to the forefront and celebrate them. So that's what I'm doing. I'm celebrating you, and just being so thankful for all that you have done within our Bahamian community, and just reminding the listeners, in case you don't know, when you see these persons, man, you got to know who's in your midst. You got to know who has probably impacted someone in your life, impacted someone that you may be here for that, some teacher that had made a pass through you, some other young man, some of your friends. And so this is what this is about for me. I'm celebrating persons that has been so inspiring. And so this show should have been inspiring to you again, because I'm sitting in this, just a reminder to me of you got so much work to do, and the work never stops. It doesn't stop in your home, and this is the message I'm getting from you, that as a country, we stick within our homes, and it's very important. If you're not contributing to your home, start there. But after doing all of that and more, and still don't forget that we still got persons out there. We got a community, we got young kids, we got the next generation, we got the schools, we got the churches, we got everywhere that we could just make impacts to in a positive way. So I'm leaving the final words with you, man, before you go to bed.
Yeah, I just want to encourage us, as it's good to have the celebration and the hoorah and the flag, but where's the flag in your heart? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I was in school in Kearney, Nebraska, I ran around to the high school speaking about the Bahamas. And I've always been an ambassador. In fact, they call me the ambassador of the Bahamas. Anybody who came to Kearney, they say, oh, Dwayne King,
Yeah.
And it's not about me, but I believe live a life of impact, not for the reflection on you, but to give all honor and glory to God,
Yeah.
But just live a life of impact, find ways that you can serve. I mean, how you can be in the church for 20 years and you don't serve in a ministry? You just come to take. You come on Sunday, take. You give your little offering or tithes. But what are you contributing to? You know what I mean? Like my church, Calvary Temple, we have so many ministries, Just sow your time, your talent. You're a retired teacher. You have a skill set. You know, you used to do golf or sports, man. Grab a couple of kids,
Right.
take them in the back of your yard, man, and show them the discipline of sports and of that particular sport,
Yeah.
and how to deal with failure, how to deal with losses, how to deal with injuries.
Right.
You know, there's lessons in that. You see what I
Yeah.
mean? And the thing is, we should be learning every day. Bible said, all I get and get knowledge, get wisdom. You see,
Right.
and be that impartation.
Mhm.
And I think as a nation, we need to be less political and more national agenda. What's our national agenda?
Wow.
We don't have a national agenda. I watch Parliament, man, and I can be honest with you. I don't want to offend nobody, but sometimes I feel like going in there with a bamboo stick and just laying all them out. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, y'all pointing fingers all day,
Right.
and that's like mommy and daddy robbing each other, right? Blaming, and the kids in the middle,
Yeah.
right? And nothing's getting done in the home.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I look at it that way, I break things down to the simplistic. So as a nation, it's about us, not them or you. It's not a black and white or Haitian Bahamian thing and Jamaican thing and rich and poor. We got to stop all that foolishness. What are you doing? You know, I had a gentleman, he taught me something a long time ago. He said excuses, reasons, alibis, and explanations equal failure. Just say you fail and do better.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
And say you fail and do better. So happy Independence Day, Bahamas. This is Sensei Dwayne Antonio King. And just do the best you can. You don't have to be perfect, you know.
No.
God says strive for perfection daily. He didn't say you have to be perfect. So just do your best. That's all you can do, you know.
Listen, y'all see why I had to start it off with this right here. You know what I mean? If you're coming in, you gotta know you gotta continue this, and you gotta be just as good. But man, listen, Mr. King, I appreciate you so much for always taking out the time, especially if you got the time. If I call, you know, this has been another time I've sat in the front of you and had a show, and you know, yet again, you've just inspired me, and I'm sure that the listeners can hear, you know, the principles and the values that you have, especially as a man. And you know, I often tell, for me, you know, I salute women for doing their thing and empowering them, but you know, I always love to see a man, just to remind me, other young men that listen, and that's out there listening. You're growing up and you're trying to think of certain things. Like, these are examples that we can follow.
Amen.
You are another example that we can follow, and I hope that, you know, we gathered something. If not anything from this, is something or one thing that stood out with any young person, male or female, today, to say, listen, I need to make a switch. I need to make a change. I need to start, you know, making better decisions, becoming more disciplined, you know, showing more respect, you know, changing my values, checking out my value system, all of that. And so thank you again, man. Looking forward to, you know, bringing you in again some other time again.
Anytime. To God be the glory.
Listen, folks, you don't go nowhere. You've been listening and tuning into, you know, this is a great show. This is the Independent Series, and I had Sensei Dwayne King from King's Martial Arts. If you're looking, you know, to, maybe consider it, let them contact you. Where can they find you? Gotta leave
I'm
that
on
information.
Facebook, Instagram, 441-3877. Classes resume September 2nd. I'm presently renting a space in a school next to my church, Calvary Temple. Classes on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 4 to 5. And we roll into a second class at 5:30 to 6:30.
All right. So that y'all have it, folks. If you are interested in starting some martial arts, you know, and you don't just go there and beat up people.
No, man.
You know what I mean? But you might go in there with that thought, even if that's what you think, and go. Because, you know, I know they ain't going to leave with the same mindset. So just go. Just get down there. Don't forget, I got to remind you to go and check out Special Delivery, one of the sponsors of the Howard Go Show. And if you're looking for rates as low as $9, that's the place to go to. $20 off first-time shippers. Sign up on the website at www.specialdeliveryltd.com. Give them a call, 351-2971, or WhatsApp 821-2971. They're also on Instagram and Facebook, Special Delivery. Check the email out, info@specialdeliveryltd.com. In the meantime, between time, you keep your dials locked. Power 104.5 FM. Rihanna, you ain't saying nothing. Say goodbye to the people. That's all you need to say. See y'all later.
See y'all later.
All the warriors.
Hey, don't worry. Y'all stay tuned, because y'all know we got to have that trivia